Hi, I'm Erin Peace, and I'm an LCSW and a staff therapist with the Samaritan Center in Austin, Texas. In this video, I'm going to talk about the difference between self-compassion and self-criticism, and then we'll guide you on a short mindfulness exercise that'll help you put these ideas into practice. First, I'll define self-criticism, which is the process of sending attention to one's own fault and shortcomings. And we all have an inner self-critic, right? So we can think of this as a part of ourself that tries to motivate us and protect us, and at the same time is not necessarily reflective of reality. And self-compassion, on the other hand, is the process of extending warmth and understanding towards ourselves when encountering mistakes or experiencing our own weaknesses. And one goal for a healthy sense of self is to have a balance of both of these processes and an integration of both of these processes. And I'm going to guide you through an adaptation of an exercise by Kristin Neff and Leslie Greenberg. So first, I want you to bring into your awareness your own self-critic, and without judgment, with curiosity, notice what that part of you looks like, what it sounds like. Notice if there's an image or a character that goes with that part, an age, and just notice what comes up. Don't assign judgment to what the critic is saying. And next, you'll do the same thing, but you'll invite into your awareness a part of you that's on the receiving end of this self-criticism. And again, notice without judgment what that part of you looks like or sounds like. If there's an image, a character, an age that goes with that part of you. And what that part of you feels like when it's criticized by the self-critic. Finally, you'll invite into your awareness your own self-compassionate part. And for many people, this is the hardest part to access. We know that even though it's difficult, we all have the opportunity to access it. And if you need to, you can imagine borrowing compassion from someone that you trust, from a spiritual figure, from an animal, from yourself in 10 years. And you'll notice again what that part of you looks like, what it sounds like, what age that part might be, and what it might be saying. What it might be saying to the self-critic and also to the one that's on the receiving end of that criticism. Notice what that feels like to be able to get in touch with the compassion and notice what it feels like in your body. And a way to put this into practice is to bring up a recent perceived failure or mistake and to first let the self-critic say its piece, again without assigning judgment to what it's saying, just noticing what comes up. Notice then how it feels for the part of you that's on the receiving end of that. And after you've given space for both of these parts of you, to then invite into your awareness that self-compassionate part and see what it might say to those two other parts of you and how that part might be speaking and what it might do. And the idea is that you can recognize that all of these parts serve a purpose, and you as the observer can help these parts work together for your benefit. And I recommend that you practice this exercise multiple times because like any muscle, it gets stronger with time. Okay, let me know how it goes.